So hello and welcome everyone to this edition of Align Modern Health's digital doc series. Whether you're working from home or return to the office, a lot of us suffer from a lot of things that come along with sitting too long and spending time in front of the screen. Are you running out of energy and reaching for more coffee in the middle of the day? Are you experiencing neck or lower back pain? Perhaps stiffness in your legs? I was there, experiencing lower back pain for the first time in my life, working from home at the height of the pandemic. As a coach and endurance athlete, I do consider myself a pretty active individual. But like my doctor asked me, how many hours are you sitting and are you balancing that out with standing and moving around? When I did the math, I certainly wasn't. There's a common saying that sitting is the new smoking. However frightening that might be, there's another saying and solution which is movement is medicine, which is why we have dubbed this simple concept of a 2-minute turnaround, and it can certainly change the game for you. But first, if this is your first time tuning in and learning about Align Modern Health, we are Chicago's highest rated and integrative health and wellness. We take a non-surgical, non-pharmaceutical, evidence-based care approach to the medicine we practice. We have 16 locations across the city and suburbs where we offer chiropractic physical medicine, functional medicine and clinical nutrition, acupuncture, and clinical massage therapy. We look to get to the root cause of problems, not just treating your symptoms. While these are the most common things that we do treat, we certainly go beyond this list. This year, bouncing back from 2020, we did open our newest clinic in Orland Park in May, and we'll be opening our next locations in Logan Square and Killdeer very soon. So today's guest is one of our amazing rehab specialists from our Lincoln Square location. Beyond her amazing clinical work that she does, she is an amazing singer, beatboxer, lover of dogs, and all things to help save our planet. Please welcome our senior rehab specialist, Emily Lazer. Hi, Emily. How are you doing today?
Everybody. Hi, I'm good, thanks. Very excited to be here with everybody and to get some little exercises in today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to you to sharing all your knowledge with us, and we always love having you around. So thank you. And by the way, my name is Ryan Katurin. I am a marathon coach at Chicago Endurance Sports, and of course, I'm also the director of community partnerships with Align Modern Health. Before we do get started, if you do have any questions, please type it in the Q&A section below, and we will get to the questions at the end of the presentation. Sound good? All right, let's go and get started. Emily, first, why would we even need a 2-minute turnaround?
Well, Ryan, like you said, this past year and a half has been a little crazy when it comes to needing to sit a lot between working from home and being inside cooped up when we haven't been able to be out and about. And even as things are opening up, a lot of people are still really stuck at their desks, sitting too much. And that sitting is not good for the body. And so a 2-minute turnaround is that chance to get you up and moving, get your blood flow going, get those muscles remembering what they're supposed to be doing, and give you that energy that we always tend to lose about midday. And this is the perfect thing to help you find that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say that. Our bodies were meant to move. They weren't necessarily meant to sit.
Yes.
I mean, we do have to rest and recover, but we have to do what our bodies are intending to do. And I know that you and I, and when we were preparing for this webinar, you told me an amazing analogy about how you compared flexion to candy. Can you please tell our audience about that?
Yes. Well, if you've ever worked with me in a clinic, you know that I am obsessed with using analogies because I think they're fun, but they're also very relatable and can simplify something that can sometimes seem difficult to understand. I know, we hear like, of course, being sedentary and sitting all the time is bad. I like to call it candy. So candy is that flexion, that forward motion or slouching. And it's candy because we love candy. We love getting to be lazy and sitting all the time. And our bodies are made to be able to do that and made to be able to eat candy, but we know that it must come in moderation. So with candy, we know that if we have too much in that moment, we can get a stomach ache. If we do it too much, we get a cavity. This can relate to sitting because if we sit too much, our body starts to become more sedentary. This can lead to, of course, any muscular issues like neck pain, low back pain. We call that tech neck or text neck now is even very relatable, as well as can lead to more severe issues like obesity and diabetes.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I really do truly love that analogy. And, we don't want to claim that we don't have candy. Everything in a little moderation too. So.
Yeah. Oh, I've been on a candy kick recently. I'm not going to lie. Actual candy, not flexion, but.
Sure. So now what is going to be the 2-minute turnaround?
So 2-minute turnarounds, and as you can see on the screen, we've got a couple different ways of viewing it. So one, very specifically, it is a short series of various exercises that can be performed once or multiple times throughout the day. It's simple enough that you're not going to get sweating too much. And two, that opportunity to turn around your normal sedentary routine. So it gives you that boost of energy and that productivity. I know that for myself, sometimes if I'm just lounging, I feel like I can very easily go take a nap, which then my 10-minute nap turns into an hour. And this sometimes just getting up, moving, doing something, doing a few exercises, only 2 minutes worth, can be enough to give me the energy I need for the rest of the day. And third is that great reminder to move, because again, as we said, we are made to move. And so this is that reminder as we get caught up in the everyday, in our work schedules, we're all busy. This is that quick way to get yourself in the groove.
Yeah, absolutely. And as a coach for Chicago Endurance Sports, I would tell our athletes who say that, it's hard to get that cross-training workout in the middle of the day and block off an hour of your day. Well, what if you broke it apart into little pieces throughout the entire day? Doing something, even just 2 minutes worth or multiple 2 minutes worth will at least be something that you can do and counteract that sitting. So this is great. This is something that we used to do, that we did with Align Modern Health headquarters staff pre-pandemic. And even when I used to work at Fleet Feet, we would designate a time, sometimes at 2 p.m. or just in the afternoon. And we would stop for less than 5 minutes to do this quick little turnaround workout. I found that it's easy to do this at home or wherever I set up for work. Again, if you can't get to the gym, there's always a good way of getting something in. So what we're going to do next is that we're going to have Emily take us through a suggested workout. It's just going to be a baseline. So what we really want you to do, I'd be remiss if we sat here and you just watched us talk about this. So we would love for everyone to do is to get up off your chairs and your couches and things like that, and follow along with us and actively participate. And then you could always change this up to meet your fitness needs. But here's how. We've thoroughly put together a routine based on the general complaints that we hear from patients all the time. Sound good? All right. So Emily, let's get started. So what is the first exercise that you're going to teach us?
Amazing. Yeah, let's go. So we're going to do 5 exercises. We're going to address different parts of the body because, of course, we know we can't do full body workouts all the time and we don't want to be too specific. So we're going to do a full idea. And as Ryan said, we'll mention some ways of regressing or progressing along the way. So the first exercise is going to be some standing low back extensions. Some of you may be familiar with these. You've called them Mackenzie's in clinic. They are doing extension because, as we said, flexion, that forward motion, the slouching, the candy isn't great. So we're going to do the opposite to try reversing all that sitting and flexion that we've been doing while we've been working at our computer. So everybody go ahead and stand up. Got my space here. So with these low back extensions, Ryan and I are both going to do these. We are focusing on getting that extension as much as we can in your low back. So what you want to do is start slightly wider than hip width apart because that will help with your balance. And then you can put your hands, fists, the back of your hands or thumbs, whatever feels most comfortable, in the small of your back. We're going to take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to push forward those hips. And you should feel a good stretch in your abdominal muscles as we get that low back extension to go right across here as well. We use that breath work specifically to exhale as you go into it because it helps us release as much as we can so we can get the most extension as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I do have a question for you. Can I lean too far back? I'm not a limbo expert, but can I lean too far back and can I hurt myself?
I think that's fair. Unless you're a pro at limbo, you pretty much cannot. So as long as you're focusing on that stable stance with your feet for balance, you want to go as far as you possibly can. Some people I know, if you also have neck tension or issues, if you end up extending your head with you, then that can cause some tension and then can also irritate. So really just listening to your low back, if you feel that right stretch. If you feel like at a certain point though, you're getting a different kind of pain that is not feeling too great, we call that more of like a yellow or red light more so, then that's definitely going to be a sign that the too far for you is not good, and that we might want to recommend coming into one of our clinics to see one of our doctors for that.
Sounds good. So I just want to touch base on some key points, staying a little more hip width apart, and we're taking our hands and our fists, and we're really pressing it into our lower back, correct? So we're using the top of our hips forward. Okay, fantastic.
Yep.
And what I do want to point out to everyone is that Emily did mention, you could do Cobras. You could do Cobras on the floor. I certainly trust the carpeting at our headquarters. But we did think about this. We thought of, like not everyone has, an office where you might trust the floors. So you can do certain exercises off the ground if you can, but all these exercises will be standing. So just give you that little heads up. All right, Emily, let's give you the next exercise.
All right, we're going to jump to some upper body mobility. So we're going to be doing some window washers or some thoracic rotation. You could be up against a wall. We're going to do this freestanding right here. What you're going to want to do is start again with that slightly wider than hip width apart stance. Step forward with one foot so you have a lovely split stance. And then you're going to take that front leg's arm and we're going to open up, and you're going to pretend you're along a wall washing that window, and you're going to go all the way back behind you and then come back to the front. So making a nice circle as far as you can. I recommend following your hand with your nose because that encourages that thoracic rotation as best as you can. You can also have hand in front if that helps you feel a little bit more stable with that as well. And of course, doing both sides, switching to have that front leg in with the same arm is going to help keep your hips more stable for this too. So this can help open up your chest, because I don't know about you, but especially when I'm in a groove at my computer, I end up kind of like this typing. And so this can really help open up from all the computer and desk work that we've been doing and stretch out those pec muscles that tend to get a little too excited and tighten up throughout the day.
I feel like this would really help with my air guitar routine, but
probably.
Let me ask you this.
The most range of motion.
I do notice a little bit of crunching in my shoulders when I do this. Is this bad?
Yeah.
Is this a bad thing, or is this a something thing, or what is this?
So my shoulders are personally crunching too, but are you experiencing any pain with that?
I'm not.
With the crunching?
No.
Okay, then that's good. That's just a sign that things are moving around. So it can be those muscles, those tendons. If you're not used to doing these shoulder rolls, it probably means that we need to be doing some more window washers just to encourage that mobility within your shoulder. That's very common to feel or hear those crunchies in any kind of movement of exercises. Again, so long as it's not painful, that is going to be one of those signs where if there's any kind of pain, whether it's sharp, it's dull, it's shrieking, I love when people use the most random words to describe pain, then that's definitely a sign, again, to come into our clinic to kind of see what is making that crunching or that sound or feeling that's going on in your shoulder.
Got it. Awesome. And then, so what we suggest, and let's even back this up a little bit. What kind of a set would you do for the Kenzies or the back extensions? How many would you do in a set?
Yeah, so honestly with those, the more the merrier. For this 2-minute turnaround, we are just going to be doing a set of 8. It can be 8 to 10, 15, 20, depending on how much time that you do have. And as long as you're getting in at least about 5, I say that that's a good number to really work in that extension, just making sure it's repetitive enough that your low back is like, I got it. This is where we should be. With these window washers, also some flexibility. We're going to be doing 5 on each side today, just for a total of 10. So keeping it fairly even, unless you have an issue or a tighter side, then feel free to do a little extra love. Give a few more repetitions to that side that's tighter for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I do want to point out too is to remember to breathe when you do these exercises. I find that too many times.
Please breathe.
See our patients or our athletes doing this while they're holding their breath. Truly find a nice rhythm for your breath, and then also focus on diaphragmatically breathing. Correct, Emily? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so diaphragmatic breathing, it's that lovely way of breathing that we are all supposed to be doing all the time. I promise you used to do it at some point. When you're an infant, it is instinctual. So we did it once before, and it is making sure that you have that full core stability, not just the crunches for the six pack idea, but it's all those muscles all the way around to the low back, to the top and bottom. I like to call the core a can of soup. I told you I like my analogies, but that diaphragm is that top, that lid to your whole core. And so making sure that you have everything engaged and you're breathing properly will help engage your core and then improve your mobility and help with stabilizing in your different exercises. So like Ryan said, please breathe. I tend to say, hey, breathe for 3 seconds, breathe for 3 times versus hold for 3 seconds, because I know that you'll actually breathe if you're counting your breaths. But when in doubt, try to exhale into the most difficult part of the exercise or the stretch, because that can help release.
Sounds good. All right, let's move on to the third exercise.
All right. So now we're going to do some dramatic shoulder rolls, and then we're going to go into a thoracic extension. So again, it doesn't always have to be something crazy to get things moving. This, you might feel some crunchies in your shoulder. We're going to make those shoulder rolls go up as far as you possibly can, as back as far as you can, and as down as far as you can. And then you're going to go into a motion with your hands on the side of your head, elbows in front, and then you're going to aim to get those elbows up as far as you can. So we're going from that shoulder roll into some thoracic extension, which we know the opposite of flexion. So when we tend to slouch and hunch forward in our chairs, this is going to help counteract that move by focusing on your upper back here, by going from the shoulder rolls all the way back and down and up into those extensions. Do you feel crunchies in your shoulders there, Ryan?
A little bit, you know, and I feel like, you know, and you know, I do a lot of swimming and things like that, but I swear when I'm sitting at the desk, I feel like the Tin Man when I get up.
Oh gosh.
So yeah,
well,
I get into this more and more often.
Perfect. Well, 2-minute turnaround will be perfect for you then. So that extra oil throughout the day.
And so what would
right.
you suggest for a set for this? How many reps would you do?
So we're going to do a set of 4 of these. As long as you feel like you're getting that release through these, then it could be anywhere from 3 to 6 or more, but a handful in order to get things to release a good bit. We're going to do 4 for this set of 2-minute turnaround.
All right, great. All right, so what's going to be our 4th exercise?
All right, nobody hate me here. We're going to do some core exercises. So promise is going to be fairly simple. We're going to be standing up nice and tall, and we're going to do an overhead march. So this is, again, going back to that idea of the core is not just crunches for the six pack. It's that full stability all the way around to protect your spine, that this is going to be engaging more parts of your core to fight not just forward and back, but any kind of rotation and side to side motion. So with that march, we're standing up so nice and tall, having arms up over our head, mentioning though, it doesn't have to be directly over your head if that makes your shoulders go up to your ears. My left shoulder doesn't do that without compensating. So if it's slightly in front of you, that's totally okay as well. Making sure too that we have our spine as straight as we possibly can. So not anticipating this by arching your back or hunching forward. So we're standing up so nice and tall with hips tucked under. And then we're going to march. So we're going to lift one foot and exhale, using that breath, that exhale to help us engage our core as you do that march. Alternating legs and marching, fighting that lean or back all the way around. Even hard to demonstrate that in a fake way. But having arms overhead will help engage your core. If you feel like this is irritating your upper back too much to hold your arms up, then you feel free to have your arms in front of you in the sense from here.
And how high should we lift our knees up? Are we trying to drive them as far as we can? Or is it 90 degrees okay? Or 45 degrees okay?
90 degrees is great. I feel like that's the best guide if you want to just hop into these. If you feel like it ends up being too much in the front of your hips, which they are allowed to engage because they will help with this a little bit. But it's not to get too high. That's when it's going to be more of a leg exercise. It's really that test of that single leg stability and can we engage that core as we go there. So I think mine personally were a little below 90, whatever feels most comfortable for you.
And ladies and gentlemen, the key thing here is when we're doing this exercise too, to engage the core, is to, again, diaphragmatically breathe. If you can really press through your diaphragm, through your belly, you're certainly going to feel more of that of the benefit than just if you're chest breathing or not breathing at all. Correct, Emily?
Correct. Yeah. So the thing too, a funny way of putting it when it comes to chest breathing, or when we take a deep breath in. Fun fact: all of these upper body muscles in your shoulders, in your upper back, and in your chest, what they're trying to do when you take that chest breath is quite literally trying to pull apart your rib cage. Fun fact: they're not going to succeed, which is good. But that means those muscles are engaging and that tension is going to continue to build. And that is when we arch our back, boom, immediately our low back is going to be in extension, and then those muscles will be engaging and then causing some issues there. So that's why keeping, although yes, nice and tall, but not in that Superman posture, keeping ribs tucked back, that is what's going to help with that diaphragmatic breathing so that you get the most oxygen as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. All right, let's move on to exercise number 5.
All right, we're going to come back to lower body a bit, and we're going to do some squats. It's going to be fantastic. So we are going to use that overhead concept again, where arms up in front of you. If that feels like that's too difficult, then you are able to adjust and have arms in front of you. With squats, of course, you want to be a little bit more just aware of what's going on in your body, listen to what your low back is saying. Still keeping with that same idea that you're going to want that flat back, making sure that you're not arched or hunched forward as you go into this. I know Ryan is going to do a modified version with the chair, and that is a great way. If you're not familiar or you're not that comfortable with squats, by all means, please use a chair to tap your butt to and squeeze to lift back up, because in that case, if you do feel like you need to sit down, you have that safety net. So having the chair just a few inches behind you, making sure that we are up so nice and tall, going back to that slightly wider than hip width apart stance, arms up or in front of you, and dropping your butt as straight down as you can and squeezing your glute muscles, squeezing your butt to lift back up. If you've worked with me in the clinics, you know that I say when in doubt, squeeze, because our glutes are supposed to help us with so much more than they really do. And sometimes they just forget. So we have to give them that little bit of a reminder, hey, this is your job, not the back, not the front hip flexors or our quad muscles. Although they help with stabilizing, we don't want them to be the prime mover. So that squeezing those glutes to lift back up from that squat is going to be key.
Great. And now, if we didn't want to use the chair and we wanted to go deeper, can we do squats with this? Are we okay?
If it feels okay, then yeah, go for it. So a deep squat is a great way of testing that full hip mobility for you. So if you're able, I guess I'm going like below my camera right now. If you're able to go lower, then that's okay. However, if you notice that your body ends up compensating your form in order to go lower, then that is when I say stop at that line right before things start to compensate. Our body loves to compensate. So if you notice that you're up nice and tall, but then you start to lean and hunch or arch your back a little bit too much as you go into a deeper squat, then that's where I would recommend to stop that, the squat.
Yeah, sounds great. All right, so now that we've learned a quick little baseline for a 2-minute turnaround, what I'd like to do is kind of put this to a test. So can we go ahead and go full routine? And Emily's going to lead us in a full 2-minute turnaround workout. I'm going to time this because I have my nice little Garmin watch on. And we're going to see how close Emily can get to 2 minutes by leading us in a 2-minute turnaround. Sound good?
All right. I'm ready if you are.
Let's do it.
And everyone should be getting up. If you're tuning into this, that means that you are interested in this and you are curious about how a 2-minute turnaround works. So go ahead and stand up, find your space. You don't really need much space because I live in a small studio and we're making it work over here. So if we're ready, or just a quick reminder, we're going to go from those low back extensions or Mackenzies into the window washers, into the dramatic shoulder rolls with the thoracic extension, our core exercise, that overhead march, and then our air squats, so the arms overhead or in front of you. And I will count these out as you go as well. Of course, if it's a little too fast for you, then feel free to do one less rep, but we're going to aim for 8, 5, 4, 10, and 10, I think. All right, Ryan, you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go. All right, we're starting with those low back extensions. You're going to go 1. Remember to exhale. 2, 3. Hard to count and exhale. 4, 5, 6. 2 more. 7 and 8. Window washers now, 1 foot in front, same arm is gonna open and back, and 2 and 3, following your hand with your nose. 4, you feel all those good crunchies. 5, and switch. 2, 1. 2, 3, 4, 1 more. 5, good dramatic shoulder rolls, and all the way up, back, down, and extend. And 2, and extend. Trying to focus it all on that upper body as best as you can. Got 2 more. And 1 more for 5. And nice core, arms up. And we're gonna do a march of 10 and 2. Just 10 total. 3, nothing crazy. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, almost there. 10. Keep those arms up if you can. We're going to go into the squats. And 1. And squeeze to lift. 2. Squeeze. 3. 4. My shoulders are burning. 5. And 6. 7. Almost there. 8. Last 1. 9. Last 2. 10. And woohoo! We did it. Ryan, what are we at? I'm so intrigued.
How close do we think she got? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So the final time I have is 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Oh, man. All right. 2.5. That's not bad.
You know what? I don't think anyone's gonna be upset. You know, people take a little, take longer to, use the restroom or get fill up their water. I think 2.5 minutes is a good time.
Or check your phone.
Fantastic. Oh, I'm glad that you like that. Someone made a nice little comment.
Yeah.
So I really, really enjoyed that and realized like that little bit got us reinvigorated. I legitimately feel good.
I feel pumped up.
I didn't break a sweat.
I have not done anything yet today. Not too productive, I guess. We'll put it that way.
Sure. Yeah. I feel really wonderful. And you get the body moving, and, there are certainly studies that are out there that you can certainly, that show that, exercise and things like that would increase production at the office. So glad you,
For sure.
So, what I do want to point out is that you can do these, but you can also swap out the exercises. So, 1 second here. All right. So here's just a quick list of some suggested exercises. Personally, I like to do push-ups, squats, planks, various planks, lunges, and and unweighted deadlifts myself. I know I'm not sure if this is listed on there, just to get the hinging movement going and activating my hamstrings. But it's totally completely up to you. You know, when we would do this at AMH headquarters or Fleet Feet headquarters, we would actually ask everyone to lead a different 2-minute turnaround. So it would totally be up to the host on what kind of exercise that you would want to do.
Oh, that's fun.
The idea is, again, remember, the idea is just to do one little round, just to get you moving, get the blood flowing, and get the muscles activating without necessarily breaking away a sweat. All right.
You betcha. And as Ryan said, even for the things that we did, if you've got some, weights at home, you can add that to progress a variety of different exercises. So the squats that we did, holding a weight overhead for those core marches, and doing Cobras, as we said, kind of, I guess that's not weight related, but different way of doing different exercises. Feel free to get creative, whatever you feel works best for you, or if there's a particular stretch that works magic, then go ahead and fill that in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love that. We can add in weights. If the company that you work for or your situation allows you to break a little bit of sweat and allows you to bring in weighted exercise, absolutely go and do it. Again, we're just doing this for the baseline. If we're in a big office and we're in our collared shirts, we don't want to break a sweat and show the the sweat stains on our dress clothes. So this is what that is. So we're actually at the end of our little presentation. I'm happy to go ahead and answer questions from all of you. So, all right. So the first question: can you suggest something to strengthen the knees? They seem to get weak with sitting most of 2020. I feel like there's a song about getting weak in the knees. From I can't think of who.
Oh, Ryan.
Emily.
All right.
What exercises?
Yeah.
Is it necessarily strengthening the knees? I'm wondering, or is that strengthening the muscles around the knee? Am I wrong or am I right?
So actually, you just kind of read my mind. I love to joke, but very seriously joke, that the knee is quite simple in a sense, because really all it does is this. It goes one way and then the other way. Often when there's things going on in your knee, or if you're having pain in your knees, then that means that something above or below is causing tension or not enough tension or issues into that knee. So often if you've done any rehab for knees before, then you know that we look at the hip, we look at the low back, and we also look at your feet. Some of my favorite exercises to teach, actually, because they're pretty cool. And so pretty much anything that works for your foot or for your hip and for your full leg is going to help strengthen the knees. But again, if you're having pain in the knees, then that is typically a sign that there's something else going on that will need to be addressed with one of our chiropractors at one of our clinics.
Fantastic. All right, great. So the next question. So the first exercise, the Mackenzie exercise, if it causes neck pain, can one modify this one and still get any benefit? Could one lean backwards slightly without the neck going back?
Yeah, I love this question because I definitely get this from patients all the time, because it's not always just the low back that we're having issues with. It's also the neck, especially if we're really slouching at work or lounging afterwards. So with the neck, and I'll kind of stand up to help demonstrate this a bit too, you can focus on keeping your neck more neutral, so in line with the spine in your upper back, and focusing more on your low back and doing as much as you can there without putting pressure on your neck. So with that, instead of going into that full extension, if that's what hurts, because sometimes we're like, and our body wants to protect our neck, so those muscles in the upper back and neck tense up, then you can keep it neutral or even looking forward more. So I'm looking out in this direction as I do it, and that's what helps me. Another option would be to do those Cobras. So those lying on the stomach, very similar to the Cobra position. In the press ups, that tends to put a little bit less pressure on the neck. But even if that still has some neck tension or issues, then we might want to be doing some neck exercises for that as well. And so going in to see one of our chiropractors or acupuncturists, massage therapists, et cetera, and seeing if we can help with releasing that tension that's going on in your neck.
Yeah, absolutely. I personally love doing the Cobra version of that. I just feel like press up and get more that extension. When I first hurt my lower back, and this that happened twice over 2020. Both chiropractors went to the McKenzie to say, hey, do 10 of these on the hour, and let's see how you do. And it was it actually helped relieve a lot of that pain that I was experiencing. So that was a wonderful exercise to add in. All right, next question. Can one squat down and almost sit on one's heels, then back up? Is that good or too much? Is it dangerous?
So that is definitely quite the feat if you are able to go all the way down and then back up. Some people, if you've got the hip mobility as well as your ankle mobility, that dorsiflexion, the ability to flex your foot so your toes come back, that is also a huge factor in being able to do that deep squat. So that can be good if it feels like it's too much pressure though on your low back or your knees. So if you're compensating and you know that other muscles that are not your glutes and your legs that are helping. So if your low back is feeling tense or your knees have too much pressure, then that could be a sign that your knees are not able to handle how deep that squat can go. It's not necessarily dangerous unless you're forcing yourself into it and continuing if you know that you're having all of those red lights or those bad signs, meaning that we need to get some help with that.
Yeah, that's a good answer. First of all, I also, lastly, I do want to applaud you for being able to go that low and that far. I am in envy of you.
Yeah, you're able to, yeah.
All right, so on to the next question. With extreme shoulder roll, with the last part of the extension, do I keep my elbows out or closer to my ears?
A good question too. So this one, I recommend trying to keep those elbows in front of your shoulders. So when you're out, this tends to be easier, which is why our body's like sneaks its way out. But pulling your elbows together actually pulls apart your shoulder blades. Going back to another analogy I like to use, that is opening up the curtains to the show. So when we're trying to do that thoracic extension, we want to get at the thoracic spine as well as those mid-back muscles in between your shoulder blades. And if our shoulder blades are together, it's harder to get that extension. So if we pull those elbows in front of you, then you are more able to get at those muscles, that region, and to improve that range of motion in your thoracic part of your back.
Awesome. Great explanation. All right. So how many times during our workday should we do this? And to clarify, how many times should we do the 2-minute routine during our workday? What's going to be most helpful?
As many times as you can. That's what I'm going to say. The more the merrier. So at least fitting it in at least once a day. So if it's, and I almost said lunch break, but I think if you're only doing one, then it would almost be beneficial to do it another time that's not your lunch break, assuming you're already moving a bit for your lunch break. But 2, 3, 4 times a day, you can do this every hour that you're sitting at your computer and working. I think that would be the most beneficial, is that on the dot every hour, or if you schedule this in, if you are someone who consistently has meetings scheduled, then doing this as your reward for, I almost said suffering, not suffering through meetings, but as working so hard during your scheduled meetings, is your reward to get moving, to give you that energy, or if you need to do it right beforehand to give you the energy for the meeting, then you can schedule it in however works best for you, but pretty much the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely. We would traditionally do it just one time during our workday, but there have been times where we had some sort of challenge that we created, and we said, hey, let's do this on the hour and try to do a rotation of the different exercises. So I thought that was, again, you can do this on the hour, and if your employers or bosses are asking, like, what are you doing? You can just tell them, I'm increasing my production because I'm getting more energy in me, and I'm
right.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
We have another question here. So, can you clarify your position when standing? You mentioned something about a word picture of your diaphragm and a tin can.
Yeah. So, if you missed me talking in the beginning about this, I'm obsessed with using analogies to help to understand our bodies as well as to understand the stretches and exercises that we do. So I like to consider the core a can of soup or your favorite canned vegetable, whichever your heart desires, because I know a lot of us, when we picture the core, we're thinking crunches, six-pack, planks, all those exercises that most of us dread. But it's a lot more than that. And it's not that we're looking for that six pack or that superhero strength. It's working for that full stability or the proper ratio of strength for your core, which protects all the way around in the top and bottom. So if you picture that can of soup, I'm going to stand up again. So it is going to be, yes, those front abdominal muscles, but it's everything that wraps around your sides. So it's going to be the abdominal muscles, your obliques, those then more lumbar muscles, and your paraspinals that then wrap all the way around, because that's in a way like a corset as well. And that is what's going to protect your spine. In your top and bottom, we have our pelvic muscles on the bottom and our diaphragm on the top. So they all play a factor into each other. We work on this with every patient, whether it's your neck, your hip, or your toe that hurts, because it affects everything. Because if you're stacking a bunch of dented cans, it's going to fall, right? So focusing on the diaphragm with breathing, if you're slouching or if you're extending, hyperextending, then that is putting a dent in the back. Your low back muscles are going to work, and then your diaphragm is not properly able to expand or push down into your belly region or your stomach as you take a deep breath in. So that's why when we think tucking ribs back pulls us into a non-dented can, I guess. So that full stability here. And when you take a breath, I don't know if you guys can see from this, I'm trying to make it work very visibly, but your breath should go down, press against your diaphragm, which then just pushes out this way. So that breath should go out as you breathe in.
Yeah.
Because there's more stuff in your body. So thinking about this expanding as you do that. Another tip I like to give to practice this, whether you're lying down, sitting, standing, on a walk, and your diaphragm starts cramping, what I have to do when I try running, you put your hands around your waist and try to breathe into your thumb. The hardest part of that belly breathing, because the muscles are thicker back there, but that's going to be a great way of cueing. You should feel that slight increase of pressure into your hands, into your can, that is then proof that we are using that diaphragm properly. I hope that helps answer that question.
Great. No,
for you.
I'm going to add a little bit into that as well. You know, I'll say this, I had someone also make the analogy that your diaphragm is almost like an inner tube, one of those floaties that are around your waist, and you're just trying to inflate the inner tube, even though, I don't want my love handles or something in my belly, but it's okay. Like, you know, it's actually going to help you relax and not tense up your shoulders as much as chest breathing. We actually tell this all the time to our runners, that if you actually can practice and breathe through your diaphragm, you're not going to tense up your shoulders as much when you're running, and you're going to be able to relax a little bit more. And try that when you're out running, to focus on diaphragmatic breathing versus chest breathing, and it'll certainly improve your run. Awesome. So, you know, I did notice a couple other questions. I'll quickly just touch base on those. I know someone asked if this would a list of all the exercises would come out later on. This is being recorded and will certainly be sent to all of you. Whether you watch it live, if you just register for it, we're going to send you a copy of this recording, so you'll certainly get that. I know there's another question that was regarding nutrition. What should one eat before or after an intense workout? Not really our realm of expertise between Emily and myself. However, you know, something that's, I'll just throw this in there, something that's easily digestible, right? You're not going to eat a steak before you do an intense workout, you know, something real nice and easily digestible. So hope that answers it. So I think that's all the questions that we have for today. So thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate your attendance and hanging out with us this afternoon. Thank you to our awesome and wonderful guest, Emily. It's always a great time spending time with you. Do you have any last tips for our audience here?
Thank you, Ryan. It's always fun getting to see you. I know I like jump up and down when I see you walk into the clinic. So my last tips really, when it comes to posture, when it comes to improving the sitting that you're doing, because of course, if it's your job, you can't really do too much about it. You're going to be there working on your computer. But more of the story is really just try your best. So I say that to all of my patients, even the more that you go from here to here can make a really big difference with your posture. So that little motion, even if it's a million times a day, is a mini exercise, and your body will get used to it and find that strength more. So the more you're working on it, the more that you're trying to get these 2-minute turnarounds into your day, the easier it's going to get, the more your body's going to rely on them and need them because it should. And just practicing that awareness, no matter what you're doing or where you're sitting, will help to improve your posture, increase your mobility, and decrease your pain. We're hoping, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so very, very much. If anyone else has any additional questions, maybe they're a little more personalized, and you want to see how we can help you, please visit us at alignmodernhealth.com or call us at the number on the screen to schedule your personalized free consultation. As you can see, we are also in network with most major insurance companies and do a complimentary insurance benefits check before your first visit. I am Coach Ryan. This is Align Modern Health Digital Doc Series. Please join us again in 2 weeks when we talk about balancing flavors with one of our registered dietitians, Savannah. Until then, we look forward to seeing you again, getting up, moving around, simply trying your best, and living your life to the fullest. Have a great day. We'll see you all soon. Thanks again.
Thank you, everybody.